You are the reliable one, the one who solves all the problems, has everything figured out, and is always thinking 5 steps ahead. This is a good thing, right? But what if these strengths are secretly being fueled by anxiety and pressure under the surface? That's when these strengths can cost you. Neglecting your own needs because you're carrying it all, burning out because you have difficulty saying no, never being able to feel fully present because you're always planning, coordinating, and mentally analyzing every situation. If this sounds familiar, know that there is a way to maintain the strengths and traits you hold dearly without completely abandoning yourself. That's what we'll be diving into today. Welcome to Calmly Coping. I'm Tati Garcia, a licensed therapist with over 15 years in the mental health field. Every episode, I help you get to the root of the anxiety, overwhelm, and pressure of holding it all together, and what actually works to shift it. If that resonates, follow or subscribe wherever you're tuning in, and let's get into it. If you've been a listener of Calmly Coping, you may have noticed that I took a break from the podcast for the past 4-ish months after being pretty consistent for almost 6 years. I'm going to be sharing more about that towards the end of this episode. The high performers I work with have a lot on their plates, along with having very high standards for themselves. And they tend to be the go-to person at work, in their personal lives, even while online at the grocery store that people go to because they seem like they have it all together. They take pride in this, and their ambition and dependability are strengths and highly valued traits. But they come to see me because these strengths are coming at a cost. They're burning out, worrying about things all throughout the day, feeling tense and on edge, constantly feeling overwhelmed, never feeling like they can fully rest and slow down, and feeling guilty taking care of themselves because they're afraid of dropping the ball. They feel exhausted keeping this up, but they don't know what to do. Let's look at an example to illustrate the difference between this experience and the alternative. 2 people prep the same presentation. Both rehearse it 5 times, both reply to every email that comes in within the hour, and both look equally on top of it. Person A does it because she likes the craft and chose this work. Person B does it because she's afraid of what happens if she drops the ball, and she can't stop even when she's exhausted. From the outside, they look identical. The same calendar, the same output, the same praise. But the difference is invisible until you look at what it costs each of them and which one is quietly burning out. Be honest and let me know in the comments which one, person A or person B, are you most days. In essence, the difference is what is fueling their high performance. Is it meaning, capacity, even joy? Or is it fear, anxiety, and pressure? In other words, reliability and high standards, the strengths themselves, aren't what is costing you. It's the anxiety that is fueling them that is. And this is what often occurs in high functioning anxiety. High functioning anxiety isn't a formal diagnosis. It's a description of a pattern in which anxiety is fueling you to push harder, often driven by the fear of failure and self-criticism. And to help understand what's underneath it, you have to look at the pieces that have been studied. And perfectionism is one of those pieces. So let's look at the research around perfectionism. Researchers often split perfectionism into 2 parts: perfectionistic strivings, which are tied to hoping to succeed, and perfectionistic concerns, which are tied to fearing failure. There are the same high standards on the surface, but one is pulled by wanting to do well, and the other is pushed by the fear of falling short. And it's that second one, the self-critical, fear-driven part, that's most closely linked to challenges like anxiety and depression. But here's the nuance. They're not 2 separate boxes that you fall into. When researchers look closely, these 2 actually overlap a lot. Most high achievers aren't running purely on one or the other, but it's more so a blend. Some genuine drive, some fear and self-criticism mixed together, so it can be hard to tell the difference. Which is exactly why this can be so hard to spot in yourself, because it just feels like This is just how things are and it feels normal. So the question isn't, am I a healthy striver or an anxious one? It's how much of my drive right now is being fueled by fear and self-criticism, and what is that costing me? And there's an analysis that backs this up. Researchers Hill and Curran did a meta-analysis that pooled 43 studies and nearly 9,800 people. What they found is that fear-based concerns showed a link to burnout. The high standards part on its own didn't relate to burnout at all. So let me repeat that. Having high standards wasn't what burned people out. It was the self-critical, fear-driven side of perfectionism underneath them. And in some cases, that effect showed up most at work, which, if you're listening to this, may be exactly where you're experiencing it. So it's not your ambition that's the problem. It's not your standards. It's how much of them are being driven by fear and self-criticism, because that harshness causes you to feel worse and causes you to feel on edge. So let's talk about some specific ways to keep your strengths while changing what's fueling them. First is to notice when fear and self-criticism are driving the car. So this can look like tension, worry, thoughts of what if going endlessly in your head, overanalyzing and checking things 1,000 times, fearing the worst case scenario, being really hard on yourself, and having unreachable standards. My next tip is to be kinder to yourself and speak to yourself from a place of self-compassion, supporting yourself through the hard times, acknowledging when things are tough, and also recognizing that everybody makes mistakes while still having realistic standards for yourself. You can check out my episode on Do You Have Unrealistic Expectations in the corner on YouTube or in the show notes anywhere else you're tuning in. My next tip is to be flexible and not rigid. Perfectionism, high standards, being the reliable, consistent one, these can become rigid rules if they're being fueled by fear, guilt, or self-criticism. So let me share my experience with this podcast here. My rule for myself with the podcast became, you must be consistent. You must not let people down by not being consistent, otherwise that will look bad. You must release weekly episodes. This worked for a long time, but we all need breaks, and it caught up with me. I thought I needed a change to the structure of the podcast, so I thought about doing seasons, but that just created another structure that I felt bound to, another rule, more rigidity. And honestly, I thought I would come back within 1 month, not 4. But I realized I needed a real break to disconnect from the rules, recharge, and return on my terms. And that means no rules. I'll try to stick to weekly, but I won't always. And I won't apologize for it, because that implies that I should be doing that, when in reality, it's just a rule I've created for myself. I do this podcast for my business, but really I do it because I love it. I love sharing these messages, and that energy to create is within me. I have a list of hundreds of ideas that is always coming out. And now I'm going on a complete tangent, but if you want me to create an episode on how to fuel creative energy, then please let me know in the comments. So yes, Calmly Coping is back, but there are no rigid structures or expectations. And if you're here and you've watched this far, I hope you'll subscribe and follow wherever you listen to podcasts to stay up to date. But we still got more of the episode. So my next tip is to stop making rest something you have to earn. And this is often the first thing to go when you are functioning from a place of high functioning anxiety, because it's so easy to justify doing one more task or checking one more email before taking that break or signing off for the weekend. You need to take time for yourself without the guilt, for joy, for rest, to let go of the mental to-do list constantly running through your head. It's not an option. And if this resonates, check out my episode on what to do if you feel guilty relaxing by checking out the link in the show notes. If you saw yourself in this episode, the reliable one, fueled by too much fear and pressure under the surface, I want you to know this. That pattern can change, and you don't have to give up your strengths to feel calmer. You just have to notice and change what's fueling them. And that's the focus of my free workshop on high functioning anxiety. If you're interested in diving deeper, Achieve a Calm Mind, Balanced Life, and Empowered Confidence in 90 Days is an on-demand training so you can watch whenever you have the time, and it goes deeper into what's actually driving the pressure you feel and the first steps to easing it. If that's where you are right now, the link is in the show notes in the description, and you can also find it by going to calmlycoping.com/workshop. While you wait for the next episode, I have other episodes on calming your mind, improving work-life balance, and feeling more confident from within. You can find those episodes here. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and until next time, be calm.